Heat Transfer Quiz 6.9 AB. Number 1, 6.9a. Conduction can only occur between two objects when one object is less dense than the other, B, both objects are in physical contact with each other, C, one of the objects is made of a metal, D, both objects are exactly the same temperature. Number 2, 6.9b. Look at the picture provided. In the situation illustrated, how will heat energy move? Heat energy will be transferred from A, the water to the hot plate by convection, B, the water to the hot plate by conduction, C, the hot plate to the water by convection, or D, the hot plate to the water by conduction. Question number 3, 6.9a. Radiation is a method of thermal energy transfer. It refers to the transfer of heat energy that moves A, through empty space, B, when objects touch, C, only through solids, D, in the motion of fluids. Number 4, 6.9a. Which of the following is an example of a situation in which an egg is receiving thermal energy through convection? A, the egg is kept warm by its mother in the nest. B, an egg cracked on a hot sidewalk starts to cook. C, the egg is hard-boiled in a pot of water. D, a metal pan on the stove fries the egg. Question number 5, 6.9b. Which of the following describes a way in which heat energy will be transferred by conduction? Sample 1 is at 30 degrees Celsius. Sample 2 is at 38 degrees Celsius. Sample 3 is at 28 degrees Celsius. Answer choice A, sample 1 to sample 2. Answer choice B, sample 3 to sample 2. Answer choice C, sample 3 to sample 1. Answer choice D, sample 2 to sample 3. Number 6, 6.9b. Which of the following sets of tools would be most useful in an experiment measuring the rate of transfer of thermal energy in 4 different liquids? A, triple beam balance, beakers, metric ruler. B, hot plate, beakers, thermometers. C, microscope, funnel, metric ruler. D, pH meter, test tube, forceps. Number 7, 6.9b. In an energy transfer experiment, 4 blocks of different temperatures are stacked. Where would energy transfer by conduction move downward from a higher block to a lower block? Sample A is at 48 degrees Celsius. Sample 2 is at 52 degrees Celsius. Sample 3 is at 55 degrees Celsius. And sample 4 is at 53 degrees Celsius. Answer choice A, sample 2 to sample 4. B, sample 1 to sample 2. C, sample 3 to sample 4, or D, sample 1 to sample 3. Number 8, 6.9b. 4 containers made of different materials, each containing water at 30 degrees Celsius, were set out on a table. The initial temperature of the water was recorded. The temperature of the water was also recorded 15 minutes later. Which container was the most effective at preventing heat transfer from the water to the environment? Container P, initial temperature 30 degrees Celsius, final temperature 29 degrees Celsius. Container Q, initial temperature 30 degrees Celsius, final temperature 14 degrees Celsius. Container R, initial temperature 30 degrees Celsius, final temperature 21 degrees Celsius. And container S, the initial temperature was 30 degrees Celsius, the final temperature was 9 degrees Celsius. Answer choice A, container P. Answer choice B, container Q. Answer choice C, container R. Answer choice D, container S. Question number 9, 6.9a. When an egg is boiled in a pot of water on the stove, there is more than one kind of heat transfer. Heat is transferred from the stove to the pot directly since they are physically touching. Heat is also transferred from the pot to the egg carried through the water. What two kinds of heat transfer are represented? Answer choice A, stove to pot is radiation, and pot to egg is conduction. Answer choice B, stove to pot is conduction, pot to egg is radiation. Answer choice C, stove to pot is convection, and pot to egg is conduction. Answer choice D, stove to pot is conduction, pot to egg is convection. Question number 10, 6.9b. A container of hot water was left out on a table. Some of its thermal energy was transferred to the environment. The results in degrees Celsius are shown here. What was the change in temperature resulting from this heat transfer in degrees Celsius? The initial room temperature was 29 degrees. The final temperature is 23 degrees. Record and bubble your answer. Number 11, 6.9a. Which of the following is an example of conduction? A, solar energy warming a room. B, heat rising from the coils of a stove. C, hot air drying a wet towel. Or D, heat moving from a clothes iron to a shirt. Question number 12, 6.9b. 4 steel blocks were heated to different temperatures and stacked together as shown. In which direction will heat be transferred by conduction? Sample 1 is at 21 degrees Celsius. Sample 2 is at 18 degrees Celsius. Sample 3 is at 25 degrees Celsius. And sample 4 is at 20 degrees Celsius. Answer choice A, from sample 4 to sample 1. B, from sample 2 to sample 3. C, from sample 2 to sample 4. D, from sample 3 to sample 2. Number 13, 6.9a. Thermal energy transfer by conduction is accomplished when heat moves from a warmer object to a cooler one by A, moving across a solid barrier, B, being carried in a fluid like air or water, C, coming in direct physical contact with it, D, traveling through empty space. Number 14, 6.9b. Water at 34 degrees Celsius was placed into containers made of 4 different materials. An initial temperature was taken and a final temperature was taken after 10 minutes. Which container allowed the most transfer of thermal energy from the water to the environment? Temperatures of liquids after 10 minutes in degrees Celsius. Material, glass, initial temperature 34, final temperature 19. Wood, initial temperature 34, final temperature 32. Paper, initial temperature 34, final temperature 30. Plastic, initial temperature 34, final temperature 28. Answer choice A, glass. Answer choice B, wood. Answer choice C, paper. Answer choice D, plastic. Question number 15, 6.9a. Convection is a method of thermal energy transfer. It refers to the transfer of heat energy that moves A, through empty space, B, when objects touch, C, only through solids, D, in the motion of fluids.